Yeah, true. And then you're sliding. Oh, that was yours. You want to talk about that? Do you want? Well, this one is kind of like that one. Do you want to do this part? Do you know this slide?
There's a loop that.
We're excited to have you on Tuesday.
Well, I'll give you all of these. Okay. And then that's yours. And then I'll do this one.
All right.
And then this one.
You get that.
All right, good evening. Thank you all for coming. Apparently, we're going to start this new thing where we watch each other sideways. Right, Nick? That was fun. Thank you guys for coming. This is somewhere in the 40th or 50th time we've done this since existence of 2011. So thank you guys for being here. Welcome to Hatch. This is Startup Night, where we showcase and present awesome companies to all of you. We're going to see 3 really cool companies tonight, starting with USS Growlers or just Norfolk Growler Company. Then we'll have WP Night Out, and then we'll wrap it up with a list from William. But tonight would not be possible without our great friends at Endurance. If you want to say something, Joy, about it.
Endurance IT is a local IT firm. Does everything from managed services to consulting and staffing. So if you have a company that needs an IT, anything having to do with IT.
And they were the Endurance Chamber of Commerce Small Business of the Year in 2014. We encourage you guys to keep your cell phones on, but on vibrate. If you guys are on the internet and anything social, here's some places where you can do some stuff. So all the companies that pitch here are in our program called 1004, where we're trying to start and grow 1,000 4-employee companies over, by the end of next year, we're at 59 now, I think. And we like to use this hashtag called Hustle City, because if we want to make something, we have to hustle to do it. This is where you guys can find us online. And that's it. So each company gets 15 minutes to present, which includes questions. So if they go 14 minutes, they get 1 minute of questions. How do you guys want me to tell you when you got 5 minutes left, 10 minutes left? How do you want me to do it, Brendan?
How would you say?
You got 5 minutes left.
You want me to do that?
5
minutes
Look
left.
me in the eyes and say, you got 5 minutes.
And I believe next week, a company that Brendan has as well, that you guys might have heard of, Quick 180, will be on Endurance Business Weekly, Sundays at 9 on ABC 13. Somewhere in there, the Makerspace is on there too, soon as well. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, please do. It's really awesome. You can go to YouTube and just search Endurance Business Weekly, or wake up at 9 a.m. and drink some coffee with me. But without further ado, and tonight also would not be possible without some liquid courage for you guys, by our good friends at John Rich Media, who is always on the job working for us. If you hire him, he'll be working even through events to make things happen. JohnRichMedia.com. Check out Jeremy. You want to say anything real quick?
Thank you for the shout out. Appreciate it.
All right.
Provide everyone with the liquid courage.
And let's see. Anything else that you say? Congratulations from last night, one of the 5 at Mocha for the Get Started Challenge. He didn't win according to the judges, but in everyone else's book he did. So especially ours. You were awesome. And I think that's it. Let's see. Congrats on your last day of work tomorrow. 3 o'clock. I remember those days. It's a great feeling doing that. And all right, so 15 minutes total. I'll give you a holler saying hurry up. We have no lawyers tonight, so we won't be having people really run over. I know, ridiculous. And then after that, we'll have Melody, and then we'll wrap it up with William.
Can I go third? I know I was listed third.
Second, we will have Williams list. That's fine. All right, if you just want to unplug that, the right one.
This is right.
Yeah. Oops. You just killed the internet.
Yeah.
If you guys want to swing over more towards the middle, that'd be perfect. And can't believe I have to actually say this, but Brendan, when you talk today, just make sure to think about what you're going to say before you say it. Because last time you're in front of people or a camera, you got a little out of hand.
Yeah.
So and you'll also see that on Hampton Roads Business Weekly.
You're gonna put that on there.
I hope they put it on there. I asked him
You have
if
to
this
watch
beard-
it.
I asked
Is that the stuff you found in his beard?
So I asked him if the beard was like a playoff beard, but like you guys are trying to like commit so much code or like get 1 million users or something. He's like, no, I grew a beard because I have no chin. So I'm just warning you.
You know what's gonna happen? He's got 18,000 people watching the show. How many people are gonna go, oh, that guy really doesn't have a chin? You know? And I'm gonna get, you know,
You might start getting chins in the mail.
I will. I might get like
Chin enhancement.
email
Yeah.
chin donors if they're out there. So okay, we're Norfolk Growler Company, and we make beautiful, handmade, one of a kind growlers that that you will be using to put your craft beer in here in Norfolk, and then spreading out throughout Virginia and maybe even East Coast. So we're that's what we do. In the background, you can see a few of our forms that are actually nearing completion, and so we thought we'd talk a little bit about vessels that have been used to hold beer and wine throughout history, and how we're sort of trying to incorporate the aesthetics of what's happened in history, and how that's influenced us and brought us to where we are today. So I'm going to hand it over to my partner, Rick Nickel. Rick is a ceramicist and teaches at ODU.
So Brandon did some of this research too, but some of the earliest vessels were made out of skins. But if you really think about what might have been the earliest vessel, you can really look no farther than your hands. If you really think about the first cup that was ever made to hold water, it's this. Right here. Eventually, people got tired of doing that, of course, and one progressed. So they started making skinned containers. So these are probably goat skin or some kind of animal. Some unfortunate animal was turned into a container for alcohol. And then eventually people started to learn how to use ceramic material, which is a whole other story we'll get into. But you know a little bit more about this piece right here, but this is one of the earliest forms that people have made that actually have traces of alcohol in them.
Yeah, this was discovered. This dates from 9000 BC, and is one of the earliest known vessels where they actually found DNA from beer yeast inside of this thing. So we know people put beer in this thing, in that long ago. So it's just, that's kind of interesting that we're still.
You said
just
there's 9,000
recently
BCs in there?
there's 9,000 BCs, and we have a BC.
Right.
Well,
There's actually a theory in history that civilization sort of coalesced around production of alcohol. But that was one of the original sort of formative factors that brought societies together and caused people to start living in one place, growing crops, and doing this so that they could produce beer and booze.
Right. So it doesn't. We don't have any grander history that we can think of than 9000 BC that we're trying to work with. So.
This might be a jug that you're more familiar with, American style jug. And this is the classic form that we're actually working off of right now. And it's a typical kind of cylindrical base. and it has like a dome top that comes to a spout, and then it has a handle, almost like a loop handle. And if you're familiar with how people actually drank out of these things, are you guys familiar with how people drank out of these? Right, yeah. You actually would hook it with your finger, one finger, and put it on your shoulder, then drink it this way. So you'd lift your whole body and drink it with it. But that's what a traditional liquor jug for moonshine or for alcohol of some kind was actually used back then. And that model was designed for that purpose.
That kept one hand free for driving.
Right, yeah, you can drive. And so there's been many kind of containers that hold alcohol, and we've been looking at a lot of these kind of old, even like aluminum beer cans that are just really kind of beautiful designs as far as graphic design. The design fits the form really well, and you'll see this kind of sloped, kind of I call it oil can form in the work that we've been the growlers have been working on right now. And I've kind of settled on this form because I think it's a kind of a beautiful form and really simple. This might look familiar to the other form that we looked at earlier. The first, it was more of a copper piece, but this is called a Bellarmine jug from England. And these jugs came over during the colonial days, and they influenced a lot of the southern potters and what they were doing. And these typically have beards on them. They're also called Bartman jugs, and Bartman means a bearded man, which is actually pretty typical of we call it hipster, nowadays. So we're actually working on a version of this right now too. It's much harder for them to make though. And this is a traditional face jug. These come from South Carolina. They started in South Carolina, traditional folk art, and this originated in America. And these were versions of those Bellarmine jugs that came from England. So the artists that made these were looking at those and doing their own versions of these. And these were typically made to hold liquor too, obviously. They were made to scare children away from them. So they're really quite beautiful forms and are rare and quite beautiful. And we've been exploring all different kinds of forms and the negative space around handles. And what we want to do is make this a beautiful piece to hold on to be functional, but also beautiful at the same time. It's not easy to do. And we looked at things that are commercially produced, like how much liquid can you put in a container and make it functional, but also make it very quite beautiful. Shipping containers. We've been thinking of the whole idea of a container as a vessel, as a container. And we're actually coming up with, we're designing forms based on these containers in the future. Yeah, maybe not in the future, but we'll be working on growlers based on these containers themselves, which is a very interesting form. And then the way I typically come up with ideas is I work out sketches in my sketchbook. And if you guys want to see my sketchbook tonight, I actually have it here. I'll pass it around if you want to look at it. I can't promise what's in it. But I work out my ideas through sketches, then I transfer them to actual clay forms. And these are some of the forms we've been working on. You can see the oil can slope here and two different models. And the handles, I'm placing them in two different areas to try to see what works best. And then this is the scoop neck that we're working on right now too. And I haven't gone to the Bellarmine forms just yet.
So I have to stop Rick for just one quick second, because if you know Rick and you know any of Rick's art, what really I think is exciting about what he's doing here with the growlers is this looks like a Rick Nickel piece. Like and you'll see very soon there's going to be a mural on Granby Street done by Rick. And when you see that mural, I want you to think about what our growler looks like and how the two of those kind of obviously came from the same person. But that's we'll talk about Rick a little bit more in a minute. But I just think this looks very Rick, especially the handle. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, I try to get the line quality from the drawing into the three-dimensional form, which is really hard to do, and it's been one of the most stressful things about this job. And this is where we're going with this. This is a company that does this right now. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be making plaster molds from one original piece or two or three of them, and then mass producing them, subcasting them, which takes a lot of hand work. Can you talk a little bit about this?
I'm BC Wilson. I'm signed up here with Norfolk Growler because I think this is a really exciting idea, and it comes at a perfect time. You can see from this map that there are, what's the exact number? Did you have the number?
Over 100 now.
Over 100. People say over 100.
Over 100.
I mean, I think there's probably well over 100.
This is just in
I think the
Virginia.
number is 100 listed business license in the state of Virginia.
For craft brewers.
For craft brewers, right.
Craft.
Here in Virginia, and we got a little concentration down in our area, and obviously people in the mountains like to make beer, so you can see that. Mountain people, yeah.
People like
They are also the ones who drink it that over there.
they do,
Yeah.
they're doing this right now.
Let's go next. Thanks. And it's an interesting time again because this is a pretty recent phenomenon. That 100 happened just within the last 10 years, really, maybe 15. You can see back in about 1979, this is a count of number of breweries in the United States. Back during the late 1800s, we had over 2,000 craft breweries in the United States. That number was slowly declining through sort of combination of businesses and so on until Prohibition, when it of course hit the bottom and got to zero for quite a while, and then jumped back up to about 703 after, what was it, 1936, whatever that was, and then companies just kept getting acquired and consolidated and so on, and eventually we ended up with Miller and Budweiser and Coors, and that was about it. And that was really like the lowest point. I mean, both on this graph and aesthetically in the production of beer in the United States. And since that time, there's been this revolution, and we're growing now at this crazy hockey stick rate through the 90s, and now we're back up over 2,000. We're at the highest number of individual breweries in the country ever, and so it's an exciting time in the world of beer. And right here in Hampton Roads, there's a huge amount going on. We've got 8 breweries currently right in Hampton Roads. O'Connor, Smartmouth, Beach Brewing, Back Bay, Pleasure House Brewing, Young Veterans, St. George up on the peninsula. And then there's more coming. We've got Rip Rap Brewing, Coelacanth, Old Mariner Brewing, all happening right here in Norfolk. So that's 10 breweries right here in Norfolk. 10 breweries in Norfolk, where, what was it, 5-6 years ago, there was 0. So this is amazing. And now there's a secondary market growing up around breweries as well. There's this new, we've got the representative right here, Lucian, the secondary market of the growler shop or the bottle refill shop, where people will just go to find an array of taps. They bring in their own growler. They're going to get an amazing selection of beers, and they're going to fill it, put it in their growler, and go home. So we want to be the next part of that secondary market of the craft beer revolution.
One thing I was going to say about that, if you're not a beer drinker and you're not into the brewery culture,
At every brewery, there's a tasting room, right? And you can go into the tasting room, and the best way to consume beer, if you love beer, is to get your growler filled because it's fresh. It hasn't been in a bottle. If you want to take it home, it's the best way to take beer home is to put it in a growler. Most of the time, you have to buy a growler. You have to buy a $5 growler. Now we got 5 minutes. Our growlers, not only are they going to be, we think, more beautiful than any of the other options out there, but they're more insulative. They're going to last. It's like having an heirloom thing. When I think about the people that really get into craft beer, we like to collect things. Like you don't want to just have one piece of glass that looks like every other growler in the world. We want to have something because there's a little bit of, in a good way, there's a fetish around what you're doing. You're enjoying all kinds of beers. You're recording it. And you want to have something really beautiful to put it in. So if you're not familiar with the culture, the reason this is so important is that every single one of these breweries we feel will want to also sell our growlers with their name on them,
You can collect them all.
You can collect them all. So, and we hope everybody does.
Okay, just so really quickly, so we have all these places where we want to have people take our growlers, and but we also need to get our. By the way, hi, I'm Chris. And I'm married to that guy. So we need to get our name out, our product out. So we're just starting to think about our social media strategy. Obviously, we already have a Facebook page. We'll probably get into Instagram. We'll look at other things like Twitter and kind of evaluate where we should go with that. I have a couple friends who are social media experts, so I'm gonna pick their brains. But anything that we do, we want to try to make it Norfolk-centric photos and posts. And I think they may talk about this briefly, but there's even talk about having decals or other things. What's that? Okay, fine. Anyway, he'll talk about that, but making things Norfolk-centric. And then we'll try to subscribe to applicable groups and blogs and create a playbook and a calendar and really, get organized so that we use social media as well as we can.
Okay, this is my secret weapon slide, right? If you've got a startup, you need to be able to answer this question, and the question is, what is your secret weapon? What makes you, what poises you to be able to be successful over the other person trying to do this? And this, I know we talked a lot about Rick. He's probably gonna get embarrassed, but Rick is our secret weapon. Rick is on the he's been on the cover of Studio Potter magazine, one of the biggest pottery magazines in the country. He is he was recently given a kiln by a kiln manufacturer because he agreed to give them some of his or to make some art for him. So I mean, that's it's almost impossible to find somebody who knows how to do this, who can do the logistics of it is like Rick can, and he's wrapping me up, and who's an artist. So
Brofist time.
Brofist, okay.
Brofist.
So Brofist, what we want from everybody is we want to know if you're with us. We want a Brofist. We want you to take a sticker and put it on your laptop or your car, and tell people about it. If you know anybody that think would be interested, help us spread the word. Give us a Brofist.
That's around, guys. Thank you very much.
Is that it? Or is it-
I think that's it. I'll mention very quickly another idea that we have. Can I mention the Color Me Drunk?
Yeah.
You know about Color Me Mine, where you can go and so we want to do a pop-up, something we might call Color Me Drunk, and we're going to pop up in the breweries for an afternoon where you can go paint your own growler. We'll fire it for you, and you can personalize it. So anyway, that's another little
Or use decals too.
or decals. So questions.
Yeah, my question was, so with the Virginia ABC laws, was there anything where I thought maybe the growlers had to be like a standard size or shape or whatever? Do you have to clear anything, or does it matter?
What we found so far is we need to put the government warning,
Mhm.
and we're looking at the best way to do that, whether it's a stamp or a decal. That's
So,
something.
so that's it.
It's so far we'll need to check on that for sure.
We're doing two sizes, 32 and 64. And the 32 will actually have a handle on it too, so you can just
Use it
put
as a
the banking.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys have like a minimum quantity that somebody want to place an order, or are they one off, or do you guys?
1 million.
1 million is the minimum of an order to get started. No, well, I've done a little bit of preliminary, math, and I mean, I think for us to have an actual company, and I think we're gonna need to sell about 300 of these a month to start out. If we can't do that, we might want to pack it up with something else. Go ahead.
So many, but I'll talk to you afterwards. The branding, labeling of the growlers, are you guys gonna do anything like that? And then, if not, more specifically, how are you gonna tackle that whole Surgeon General's requirement?
Surgeon General thing, we've looked at a couple things. There's a stamp that you could literally stamp into the clay prior to that, and or you could create a decal that's put on there and then fired into so again, it's not removable.
I want to ask you a question because as someone considering a growler shop, what we thought, well, we could put a sticker on, but the problem is just someone takes the sticker off and they bring it to a growler fill station, you're not able to fill it, right?
I
If
would
it
have a
doesn't.
sticker.
And so you'd have a sticker, you just slap your sticker on.
Without beer, it's a sticker.
Well, that's the
And
other
that's what
option
we were
we thought
thinking.
about was giving extra stickers to the growler shops in there.
Would you allow craft beer in the growlers? Is there a rule?
Well,
Only
we,
Genesee Cream Ale.
Jenny Cream.
Jenny Cream.
Yeah. We're from Rochester.
actually, well, here's an idea. Like there's so much more that ideas are a dime a dozen. But here's an idea we had. Someone needs to make a Budweiser growler filling station, and that you can go in. You put it would be there'd be a can that pops down, fills with fresh Budweiser, and you take it home. I bet someone can make $1 million.
Miller's Mart on Hampton Boulevard.
And Miller's Mart, yeah.
Yeah, Miller's Mart, right.
What's
Yeah,
your-
Target, everywhere.
Bring
I'm
in
not
a
trying to hijack you guys, please, crowd sipping, but I've got a ton of questions. What's the price point?
I know.
what were you considering?
Well, obviously we need to discuss it, but I can tell you that the only other company that we know of making ceramic growlers in the U.S. right sells them for $60. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll have a range of prices. We're gonna hopefully have some guest artists, ceramicists that make probably higher end growlers. Some of the different forms, more complex forms, maybe more.
Bellarmine.
And another thing we're thinking about doing too is I would love to really partner with local tattoo artists that actually come up with designs that we can put on growlers, because they're really brilliant, and I would really like to have that kind of partnership and get them known more.
Vintage tattoo.
For your artwork, have you guys considered doing 3D modeling on the computer?
I
So
have,
we were
yes,
talking
yeah,
about doing-
I have loved it, yeah.
Because I mean, there's a lot of technology there. I think it would really
Oh,
help.
yes. I agree. I don't really know how to do that as of yet, but I would love to learn how to do it.
7x7 makerspace now.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got a couple members right here.
Can you wash them with the dishwasher?
They're typically hand washed.
So how do you wash the inside then? Because that was kind of my question I had with you.
Water and stuff.
If you ever get your growler filled, the first thing that the person filling it does is they stick their nose to it, and they're like, and because growlers are kind of a little bit hard to get completely clean. I wash mine I put soap and water, but I don't really even worry that much about it. But if you do that in the brewery, they'll usually put it on their squirter thing and squirt it out. And I don't know, you guys gonna wash people's growlers for us?
If somebody brings in a dirty growler, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the key is teaching them to, after you finish your growler, it's still wet. All you gotta do is rinse it out. You do it upside down.
Yeah, that's the right time to rinse it out.
Ceramic
But if you let it
materials more
sit-
hygiene than metal.
It's like food on your plate. The longer
Yeah.
it sits, the harder it is to get off. So.
Well, that's good. You can help us make. We'll probably want to do a hang tag. Or
Yeah, I
something.
was
How do
thinking
you
about
how do you
Yeah.
love your growler and take care of it?
Yes.
That'd be good. It's gonna wind up being.
They're actually, I can tell you exactly how heavy they are. They're 4.5 pounds without the lid, and 5 pounds exactly with the lid.
Yeah, it was
Laptop or what?
Yeah, it's actually it's just right. I would tell you if it wasn't. It's
Is
just
that
right.
empty or full?
Empty.
That's empty.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I would say, because that's like just above half a gallon of milk or water.
Right, and it's nothing really. It's
How is it sealed?
they have what we're getting is we actually will be purchasing commercial ceramic flip top lids that have a rubber grommet on it that seal and close off. Very much like if you buy an expensive beer when they have the metal, just like that. But they're wider, they're about 2 inches wide. Yeah.
Well, you have a company, Gizmo, that you put the growler in, that will actually pour the beer for you.
Yeah.
That's like another
It's not a
product.
bad idea,
That's not a bad
actually,
idea.
yeah. There's a lot
Well,
of options.
That'll be the next startup.
Yeah.
I like to see
Outside
growler
of the spout.
sling. You could just put it in a sling and just
Growlers.
bike around. You know,
Yeah.
think I've seen this actually.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, I've seen growler.
Oh my
Profile
gosh.
or something.
All right, great job.
Thank you.
All right. Next up. Next up, we have a list by William. William's List.
Hello, everybody. I'm William, and my business is William's List. I had a PowerPoint, but I didn't want to get too technical because, in terms of not understanding a culture, I would assume a lot of people in this room wouldn't really get it. So I'll tell you the story so you can better connect with it. It's a catalog for barbers, and the reason I even created it is because it's really hard to find a good barber. I go to a barbershop, and it's not just me, it's all my friends. We always have these conversations, and someone just decided to do something about it. You go get a bad haircut, and they expect you to pay for it. It's a really bad experience. It's almost a challenge. Can I find a good barber? Once you find a good barber, it's a relationship within the African American community that you almost want to keep for life. And it's a real hard challenge to do so when you may be new in town. I was one of those people. In addition, I have a lot of military friends, as this area naturally a lot of people would. So I said to myself, I want to create a catalog to where people can get to know the barber. Within the African American community, I think there's a large group of people who would like an opportunity to see what they're getting into. I mean, it's only $20, but it's something that I'm actually going to wear. It's going to be personal, and the experience itself is something that a lot of people really do value. So with the list, what I'll do is petition 1,000 barbers. Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce says there are 1,400 barbershops in the area, and what I would do is give myself a 90% failure rate. Of the 1,000 barbers or shops that I would go to, I would assume there's 2 barbers in every shop. Realistically, there's more. I'll go to each barber and I'll say, would you like me to do something free for you? I'm gonna create a page for you, and it's gonna be a grassroots thing because I'll individually go. My background is in marketing. I've worked with a lot of different companies in the area, startups and entrepreneurs. So it's something that I already do naturally. I'll go to them and I'll petition to them and say, let me give you something for free. It's a no-brainer. I'll create this page. Of the 1,000, I'll only get, it's a 90% failure rate. I'll only get 100 barbers. So with my 100 barbers, these are the most ambitious entrepreneurs of Hampton Roads. They'll send me in a simple text, because I don't want to recreate the wheel. They'll send me a text message of the best cuts that they have. I'll upload it to my website. And I was thinking that creating a website is a daunting task that I'm not really familiar with, but that's why good folks down at Hatch have really been helping me. They introduced a site called WordPress, where I can even create a social site, something sleek and sophisticated, but really simple and cheap. And a lot of people wouldn't even, well, I wouldn't say a lot of people, I wouldn't even assume initially had I not joined with Hatch. So I create that website with these 100 barbers. Of my 100 barbers, I'll do another 10%, 90% failure rate. I'll only have 10 barbers that are the most engaged. These 10 barbers I'm going to leverage, and what we'll do is they'll initially be the heart of the site. They'll spawn this to where it may potentially go outside of Hampton Roads. So we'll do a vanity marketing strategy to where they'll post the pictures of the people that are getting their haircut. They're going to get notoriety on the barber side, and the person that's getting a haircut, well, not only your mom is going to see it, but now all of your Facebook friends and your Twitter friends and everybody else. So I'm going to help the barber. I'm going to give him something free and help him promote the customer. So this relationship that was already established and archaic to a degree will now be streamlined. It's going to be viral, if you will. And the other part of this, I already had an investor. I spoke with him about it, and he had helped me grow the idea. And I ran with it. I contacted Square because what I want to do is this is going to be free. The barber, the person who's the client, there's not really an opportunity for me or him to make any additional money. So what I'll do is I'll bring Square into it because this is a cashless society, but this is an all cash culture that I'm referring to. With that said, I will get 1,000 barbers once it's grown to its potential. In a short period of time, I expect 3 to 5 months. I can petition Square. I've already made contact with them. They'll give me a 15% discount. And I'm not going to say that's the exact number, but just for numbers' sake, I will give the barbers a 10% discount. So now that you have the ability to accept card over cash, but the people who are going to be using the cards are going to be the military. 90% of this is going to be for people who are primarily going to be organized work through cash, because that's a culture that goes back hundreds of years, 200 to 300, approximately, I guess. But the people who are in the military, they're not really carrying a lot of cash. When they go to the ATM, now your $20 cut is going to cost $22.50 because you have to pay that extra ATM fee. I'm going to help them, so they're going to cut the fee out. They're going to get an opportunity to see a barber. They're new in town. This is a personal relationship. I'm going to help them mitigate the risk. And I'll, maybe I give them the 14% and take a 1%. I want to be humble with it. But if I could tap into 1% of every haircut, or at least 50% of the haircuts that are happening every day in Hampton Roads, I think there's an opportunity to make money. If I can introduce the aspect of using Square, getting that discount, so now my barber has an incentive. He could have went and got Square on his own. He would have paid a higher fee. I'm going to broker that deal for him. He's going to save a lot of money. He's going to promote himself. People are going to be able to see him. That notoriety that he carries on his sleeve, that he can only tell his mom, now he can broadcast at Hampton Roads. There, you could do the Twitter, you could do the Facebook, but there's a lot of traffic there. This is a platform exclusively for you. And it's very personal. So it's not going to be something where it's ideal. This is me coming before a guy that I know. I see this guy every week. I see the other people every week. I'm out here trying to get these haircuts. I'm talking to my friends. My friends say, oh, I found a guy who can cut. Really? Now everybody's going to that guy. So this is a opportunity that I think that has the potential to really grow. This market, I really love it because it's metro. But if I could get established here, it would be 10 times as big in Atlanta. If I can establish on the barber side, on the side where a woman gets her haircut, the money's a lot bigger. I'm paying $20 on average. She's paying $100. I'm getting my ego stroked as a client. She feeds into vanity a lot more. So I think there's a lot of potential with it, and that's going to be the heart of Williams list.
Questions? Great job.
How are you going to make sure that barbers are giving you information on a regular basis?
I'm going to use my project management skills from working with other entrepreneurs. I know when you're working with a large group of people, some people are going to be more engaged than others. And that's going to be something else that I'm going to breathe life into this thing on my own. I'm going to contact them daily, weekly, stay engaged with the most engaged, but I'll also try to keep engaged with those stragglers. I have strong interpersonal skills, and I plan to leverage those to win people over. Let me help you. Help me help you. Everything I'm doing, I want to do with what's in it for me aspect. I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing it for you. And that'll be my selling point every time.
Two questions or comments. Like for people like me, can you broker deals where people get 50% off? And then second question, how do you handle the dreadlock problem? Anyway, I'm just messing with you.
I got a comment. I think your strategy to gain customers and clients, I think that's pretty awesome that you're willing to visit each barber. That shows a lot. I think you should leverage those relationships versus trying to just broker some deal with Square. I don't know if that helps, but I think you can actually get in front of 1,000 barbers, you're going to get the 10%
talk about. But a serious question. Why not just kind of set up sort of like a rating system and let it all kind of flush out on its own instead of like, sort of trying to, just drop this 10%, 10% rate?
Absolutely. Just to address that really quickly, that was my initial thought. When I did have a meeting with the investor to kind of build on the idea, we were trading ideas, and I did find that to be intriguing. I called them. They were open to talk to me, and they said it would be an idea they would entertain. So that portion was a little exciting to me. Maybe I'm getting in over my head in that aspect, and I should stick with that. But it was just an idea that I looked into, and I saw there was opportunity there. Did you real quick just answer what he was saying? As far, and that was something the investor said. He said, all right, it's great that you plan for the worst, but have you planned for a mediocre or even great outcome? And the truth, to be transparent, I didn't prepare for that. I was hoping it would only be 100, because if it was only 100, I can handle that. If I get a 50% failure rate and it's 500, I'm probably gonna need some help. It would be too big for me to personally tackle. I believe I can handle 100. That was kind of the inside why I even gave myself at 90%. I knew you had something.
So I have a question. Why do you need an investor if you're playing escrow brokerage and you just mentioned that WordPress was low cost way to start up? What is the investor for? Do they have connections to the healthcare industry, barbers, or a new supplier? What would make them qualified to, what would be the need for them?
Money. And, I do apologize because, if anybody is going to put their money up, if anybody believes in it, it's going to be me. And I get it. I was thinking, I guess, within a mind state that was cliche. If you have a business, you need an investor. That's what you should be doing. And I'm like, as I think of how am I going to make this work, I'm like, all right, well, it's kind of just the first thought that came to mind. I tried to leverage some professional connections, so I referenced LinkedIn. I found an investor up there. I called him. It was a little more easy than I expected it to be. I shot up to him over the phone. The first question he had is, "Who have you told this to?" I said, "You're the first person." He said, "Don't tell anybody. Let's go talk." So he had the money. He was receptive. It kind of happened a little easier than I thought it would. And that's kind of where that went towards. I did discover WordPress when Zach had gave me some links. He said, look over these things. And as I was looking at it, I saw the presentation that Jeremy actually had gave on WordPress. I looked into it and I said, "Dang, this is actually what I need." So I guess initially I thought it was more daunting than what it really was. I guess there's nothing to fear but fear itself, and I just kind of built something up to where the opposition was less than what I thought it would have been. So that was the reason I went there. I still honestly feel like I would need some money, but I am trying to keep it as lean as possible, do as much as possible independently. But if I would have the opportunity to get additional investment, just to be transparent, I would entertain that.
Follow up to that. What are you going to spend the money on?
Yeah, that's what I would ask you too. Is what
I think realistically, I wouldn't get a 90% failure rate. I think I get a higher success rate than what I anticipated. And I would like some manpower. I'd like to kind of trump up the technology. I know that I want to try to make sure that this isn't an idea, it's proven. So to set something up that's, I guess the beta phase is what you call it, something really simple and kind of test the market. But I would like to put something out there that's sleek, that's a little bit streamlined. As Jeremy was telling me earlier, when we had discussed this about 2 months ago, a e-commerce tool in there to kind of get that part initiated. But, I guess that's a little bit excessive. I don't necessarily need that. I can keep it as a skeleton operation, but, it is my baby. And, when you have your baby, I bought my son a really expensive pair of shoes, and I knew he wouldn't wear them for more than 2 weeks, but hey, you know, I would like to put some bells and whistles on it.
Another addition of your process of trying to go out to each and every one is, what if you just use social media and other, basically kind of a lean process to like go out, find those 100, maybe not the perfect 100, but 100 to kind of bootstrap this and make it easier to get the 900 or something, you know, or kind of, you probably have some fall through the cracks, but you'd be able to get started faster and without as much kind of like overhead as far as time. It sounds like you probably have a day job. The money might be used to allow you to kind of like pull back from that and spend more time on this, but anyway, just thought.
Absolutely.
1,000 people.
And I apologize, I just don't know, what's Square?
Square is, you may answer it. Sorry.
Please.
Square's, it's really funny to watch like 20 people's heads move like this. It's the thing that you put in your phone, you swipe it so you can take both payments and marks.
I apologize. Technology.
He's a lawyer. He bills at six
Oh, okay.
minutes at a time. He's just like, Brendan.
Yeah, I would think that you might see, well, my first question is, what do you consider a successful customer? And my second question is, if you're anything like any of the other web startups in the world, you're going to get a lot more acceptance rate than 10%. 10% might be the, you know, around the number of a customer that is still using your product 3 months down the road. So, I mean, I would say, you know, if you're going out to 1,000 people, you're going to get a lot of more yeses than 100. And so, how are you going to respond to that? You know, you don't know which one's going to be the one that's going to stick around. So you really have to. It's going to be a lot of work for you. So,
Yes, sir. So I do want to, if I can,
When I can. When I do.
When I do, make this something to where it's a members only thing, to create a barrier to actually get in. This is something that you can't just go and get into that club. That's the club that you have to have an exclusive membership with. And I was thinking possibly I could sell some type of memberships to where to be in it, for me to do all this legwork for you, it would be a membership of $5, $2. I don't know. I want to keep the bar low, but to where, you know, there would be something to get me some more notes where, you know, I don't really, you know, and I'll sell it to where, hey, you know, if you invest in anything, you want to invest in yourself. And I'll sell that to them because these are already entrepreneurs, but I'll, you know, and everybody wants something for free. I'll raise the bar to where, you know, or the wall, if you will, so you can't get it in so easily. I'll just take anybody, maybe sell that package deal, something that's still cheap because I want some people that are going to be willing to invest in something they don't necessarily know about, but I want people who are going to be engaged to help me spawn this site. So that was just one of the ideas I had, or a yearly subscription maybe. All right, I'm going to let you in, but within the first 3 months, depending on success, you're going to have to pay a subscription of 99 cents, you know, something humble, but to where I can build my nose versus, you know, this is free for everybody. Just go get your Skittles or candy, Halloween, take everything.
I think there might be some money in scheduling services for the barbers. If you can fill out their week by making them the cream of the crop, the best barber in town, he's booked, but if you pay an extra $5, we'll get you in on Tuesday. You can do that, or you could guarantee the barbers customers throughout the year by scheduling people ahead of time. Because I feel like that's the exclusivity. Because the best barber, you're not going to be able to get a cut there because they're too busy. So if you can solve that problem, you're going to make money.
I think that was the marketing by what was that club back in the day? There was nobody in the club, and they still made people wait out line. Yeah. In the 70s, what club was that in New York? It was 50. I said that's a genius.
Last question. Right here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You said that you wanted a small core to start with. Have you considered reaching out in the community and finding who are the best barbers around and maybe starting with them?
Yes, sir. Within that market, I think some people maybe they don't fully understand investing in themselves. They may be a little arrogant. Just when I deal with those barbers who, they got 6 people waiting for them on a Tuesday. So what I would try to do is go to the shop owner, to where I'll say who in here is the person I should really pitch this to, because I don't want to pitch to the guy who his phone is getting cut off. He's not really consistent. He only comes in on Friday and Saturday. He doesn't have a base of his own. He doesn't take pride in his work. So to mitigate me spinning my wheels with that guy, I'll go to the shop owner and say, who's got their head on straight? Who's the guy who I should really be putting my effort behind?
Perfect. Thank you so much. Melody, you want to hop in? Right on time, too. You want to do that?
Yeah, actually.
Did you plug it into there?
I got 2 display ports.
What?
2 display ports.
Yeah. This is high tech up in here.
This is Hustle City. King of the Water.
Good. Yeah, it's because Dave's not here. Dave ain't here. That's not good.
Where is Dave?
Dave's Delaware.
4-day
Bench.